I have to follow up on the story of the GTA 6 leaks because this is going bonkers now. Obviously, I can't speak on too much detail with what the videos they have shown have in them because then I imagine Take-Two would be having the Men in Black roll through with the noisy cricket and just blowing my innards out my asshole. Like, it's probably not safe to like speak on it. Definitely can't show you anything from it, but they have released a handful of clips now showcasing what appears to be GTA 6 footage. Some of it is older, but they are now claiming that they have a functional build of GTA 6 and are threatening to release it if they're not left alone. Take-Two recently started throwing the kitchen sink at this issue here. They've subpoenaed Discord. They're targeting like a bunch of different servers and stuff, looking for anyone even adjacently related potentially to the leakers. I wouldn't be surprised if I found out my parents are being subpoenaed because my dad Googled auto one time. Like, it's a wide net they're casting to try and track them down and figure out where these leaks are coming from. It's very clear they are taking it seriously. And if it is true they have a build, that could be catastrophic for GTA 6 because it means they could leak crucial story elements ahead of release, even spoiling like the ending and such. So that could be, fucking disastrous for them. Now, initially I kind of brushed it off as not the biggest deal in the world that Rockstar and Take-Two probably weren't, sweating, soiling their britches over because it was a few videos from what seems to be like a multiple year old build of the game, and it wasn't showing anything too, integral to the game. And if anything, it was just generating hype for the upcoming Netflix trailer they're premiering for GTA 6. But now I'm singing a very different tune because they have shown that they have more than just like videos. Like at first you could write it off as like, okay, maybe they got access to some, custodian who went on one of the employees' computers and recorded a little footage with Fraps or something, fucking unregistered Hypercam 2 footage of GTA 6 3 years ago, and they somehow got it from his device. But one of their more recent leaks has them actually shoot the name Leak into a building in-game, which leads me to believe that they are playing it, right? Like, that's the assumption you could make from that. So it's not entirely unreasonable to think they have a build in their fingertips here, in the palm of their hands. So it's a threat that has some real meat behind it that Take-Two, I imagine, is probably a little nervous about now. They're clearly taking it with like the utmost gusto here, pursuing them. And according to CyberLeak, they might just make like my bladder after drinking chamomile tea and leak it all. So they are saying that they have this build. They've already made their demands clear. They even have their manifesto where they're talking about all of like the terrible practices in gaming, and this is their way of like forcing them to, look inward, make changes, do better, that kind of thing. But they have been plastering a crypto all over the footage and seemingly generating tons and tons and tons of money. I've seen a ton of buzz about people preaching that this is all legitimate and for the gamers because CyberLeak burned their dev wallet, about $1 million worth of tokens they burned, to prove that it's not a scam and it's not a cash grab. Now, I haven't fully dove into the minutia of all of that at the moment, but it's like people completely forgot about the crypto rug pull era 4 or 5 years ago now, roughly. Wild, wild west, where NFTs were draining piss from balls, bank accounts emptying because they couldn't stop FOMOing into every meme shitcoin that popped up and getting rugged endlessly. And one of the strategies that a lot of those shitcoins that inevitably rugged did to prove that they were real was they made a big song and dance out of the devs burning their tokens to let everyone know, hey, look, it's safe. Come on in, the water's fine. Only, that doesn't tell the whole story. That's not actually like a full look under the hood there. But who knows, maybe this time it's different. But another thing to consider, once people are buying into the meme shitcoin, they have a vested interest in spinning tall tales about it to keep the hype train rolling so that way they can capitalize off it as well, so they're not the ones left holding the bag. It's how a lot of those rug pull shitcoins functioned back in the day where they had a ton of drones that did get in somewhat early, and then they start preaching the gospel to get other suckers on board, even knowingly peddling the fraudulent information about it. But again, could be a totally different song and dance with the CyberLeak coin this time around. My initial impression was that they were using it as a convenient excuse to hose this for money because literally everything is watermarked with their crypto to pump the fuck out of that coin, and obviously leaks of this caliber are going to generate a ton of buzz, so everyone was seeing it, and they were making a ton of money on it. So, like, yes, all the things they're pointing out are very legitimate problems, but to me it didn't really feel like they were doing it because they were fighting the good fight against, like unethical anti-consumerist practices in the industry. Like, they were making a strong point about it with their words, but their actions seem to lean more towards let's make a lot of money off this shit immediately. To me, it just doesn't pass the smell test. If this really is just, a strong case of stick it to the man-neosis, where they want to take a principled stand against terrible things happening in the gaming industry, and they want to take a fight to Take-Two, Rockstar, Sony, and thus they're doing all this, well then why are they shilling at crypto out the wazoo on everything that they're doing with it? Generating thousands upon thousands, maybe even millions of dollars in the process. So I still think that's a strong motivator behind all of it here. Regardless, though, it's a huge deal, and it's one that is being taken very seriously here, and it's a risk they're taking that could jeopardize their entire lives. I mean, it does put them at jeopardy of going to jail for an extremely long time. I already mentioned the last guy who was leaking GTA 6 footage, who got permanently institutionalized, fucking padded cell, straight jacket, probably muzzle on his face like a lunatic locked up in Arkham Asylum because he leaked GTA 6 footage. He was eventually transferred to a normal prison, but they came out there turbo fisting. This is a whole different beast now. They're going to be sicking everyone on them. Not only like their Avengers team up of lawyers, but also the Avengers team up of every law enforcement agency on the planet. They're going to get the Navy SEALs out there, the FBI, the DEA, the BBL, the DVD, the VHS. They're all coming to play. The MIB. Like, holy shit, man. Even SAD PD might even get on the case. All to try and find these leakers and stop this. And in response to them trying to figure out who's behind it all, and because of their efforts to peek behind the curtain, CyberLeak has now altered. They're claiming that they have a build and that they've had it for some time and that it's no longer in just one centralized location, so there's nothing to seize, there's no server to raid, only copies that are spread out across the globe. And then they go on to describe what's fundamentally like a fucking dead man's switch, basically something you'd find in an action movie, really. This is like some shit straight out of like an early 2000s plotline, but what they're claiming is they've got this on the ready to release, and every day they choose to cancel its release. So if something were to happen to them, like they get caught or arrested and can't stop that, manually cancel its release, then it's going to end up in the hands of millions and millions of gamers across the globe. Silencing CyberLeak would accomplish less than nothing. If anything happens to it, if it ever misses a morning, the cancellation ends on their own. Nobody has to press anything. The release simply stops being canceled, and within days, GTA 6 will be running on the personal computers of millions of gamers around the globe. Complete, permanent, no refund, no patch, no alternative. Everyday cyberleak is left alone as another day the game stays buried. Rockstar's best move is to tread lightly. Schedule has no end date. It resets every morning forever. Tread lightly. They're dropping the gauntlet down, basically saying you mess with the sack, you get the cum. And it could be a bluff, but they do have some evidence to suggest that they're playing something since they shot leak into the wall in the game. So is it a risk Take-Two's willing to take? Again, it's possible that it's all, a fib and just fish paste, but it puts them in a really, really tricky position here. Now, personally, I am not convinced that they have a complete build of this game. I think they might have something like an early build of the game with like very restricted access, because in all of the footage they've shown so far, we haven't even seen a glimpse of Lucia. One of the main characters, a character who was plastered all over the marketing. Not only have we not seen her in any of what they've showcased, but we also haven't seen anything story-related of any story significance. If they wanted to prove that they have a complete build of the game, I imagine they wouldn't just be wandering around aimlessly showing like very basic gameplay and mechanics. Nothing like super crazy or like really revealing a ton. I would imagine they would have started to like really make them sweat by showing them like bits and pieces of the story, like in a mission or something, if they had access to it, because they're not shy about showing these things. And this is a big threat that they're making here about having this build. So if they do have like a complete build, I would have expected to see something more like that to really like drive the nail and show Take-Two that they're not fucking around. But because we haven't seen anything like that, and we haven't even seen one of the main characters here, I personally believe that what they've got their hands on is like a really small, restricted, and older version of GTA 6. It's also been getting extremely messy with what's real and what's fake in regards to the GTA 6 leaks and the leakers here too, because there's a lot of other people piping up now claiming to be associated with CyberLeak, claiming to even be CyberLeak. They're even giving statements to the press as if they are them, even though in some of the cases it's not. It's just someone pretending. So it's been getting like so out of control and so unbelievable. And like I said, like there is a lot of action now being taken to try and find the group responsible here. So like they've subpoenaed Discord and looking for like tons and tons of information and like really digging into the minutia to try and like figure out who's behind it, what's going on, how they can stop it. Like it has been pretty chaotic. And this is like the latest development here, that they're now claiming they have a build and a dead man switch, basically, where if they are caught, it's just going to release on its own to everyone. That's pretty huge, man. Holy shit. Anyway, I just had to give you the follow-up here because this got wild. Like unpredictably wild here with the GTA 6 leaks. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.